So I thought I would ask this question from them, from attorney at law friends. So they are actively practicing Sri Lanka. So I asked this question: if you are a full-time legal professional, do you have a work-life balance? If you do, what kind of uh, strategies did you use to achieve this work-life balance? And I got some interesting answers. Some said, I never maintain a law office at my house. So he's having there his law office in the court complex or in the nearest city, but never having a law office at home. And one said, I do keep two mobile phones, one for the clients and one for personal contacts. And one said, okay, I never answer phone calls from clients after 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or something. So, from those kind of answers, I realized some people are trying to make uh, direct, some people are trying to find direct and fixed solution to create work life balance. That made me thinking, uh, can we really do that? Can we make like fixed concrete type of solution to achieve work life balance? So that's why I decided to ask this question from you. If the poll is closed, can we see the results? Okay, perfect. We have 74% of students are answering saying is true. Like work life balance is um, not an achievement, it's a cycle. Yes, the people who answered it is true, the answer is right, because um, so I asked back from the lawyer who said, I am not maintaining a law office at my house. So how if one of the clients come to your house? He's a good client, and he really wanted to hire you, have your service. So what would you do? Would you say, oh, no, no, I can take your case if you come to my house? You go back to my office. Would you do that? And also, the person who is having two mobile phones, one for the clients and one for the personal, one client is having a very serious urgent matter. This is our the nature of our profession, right? It's not so we are talking about legal industry, legal profession. And sometimes the clients really need to talk to their doctor when they're having a health issue. So legal issues are like uh, kind of same. Like sometimes they are having really serious legal issues that they want to talk to their lawyers. Okay, so if someone find your personal mobile number and give you a call and try to have your service, would you reject your client? No. So what I'm trying to say, to achieve a good work-life balance, you cannot make fixed concrete decisions because it changes all the time. The priorities changes. So it's a cycle. You cannot say, okay, today, June 18th, 2023, I achieved my work-life balance because I was invited to a webinar um, from my university, and one lawyer came called Asel Rupasinghe. So we listened to him, and he gave us some good points. So as of June 23rd, June 18th of 2023, I achieved my work-life balance or academic life balance. So I'm good. From tomorrow, I do have the balance. No, it's not like that. It is a cycle. You have to keep doing this every day. Okay, you have to keep doing what? Now we're going to talk about some key points. So how to go there, how to maintain this cycle, right? So I thought about getting back some feedback from my lawyer friends, and also putting my personal experiences, also doing some researches. I came up with some topics, and also I googled it, and then I came up with this very interesting research article of Harvard Business School, and I was surprised. The feedbacks I got from our Sri Lankan lawyers and my personal experiences, and the conclusion I was going to write, and the research results I found from this Harvard Business Review was so similar to each other. I mean, the facts are different. Like they have done this research with some United Kingdom lawyers, more than 200 lawyers. I did my research with Sri Lankan lawyers, and they were all saying their job is so demanding, and their job is so busy, like they exhausting, right? And they get so tired mentally, so tired after a huge trial and going through like hundreds of pages reviewing cases and appearing in very long trials and stressful situations. So yeah, actually the legal profession is very unique and very stressful one, because what we really do, like we always take other people's matters, like they come to you. I have been in family law, um, in firms where family law is practicing. So every single day, people come and they talk about their family matters, and they are going for divorces, and they don't just tell you the facts that's relevant to the case. They just tell you everything, like the fights, the words their spouses are saying, and about their other relationships, and they they express out their feelings. Some people yelling, crying, swearing. So as a lawyer, you have to listen to that. You have to absorb all the feelings, and but still you would have to deal the matter in very professional manner, right? So the nature of the legal career is stressful in nature. So we all have to agree with that. So with this stressful career, how would you maintain your personal life? Because work, when we talk about work life balance, it's not an equal 50-50 thing, and it's not an achievement also. And we already realize that, discuss that it is a cycle. It's a keep going thing. It does not end at one point. So it is not a 50-50 balance. Why would I say that? So it is not about spending 8 hours at office and 8 hours with like personal life, like with the hours and 8 hours sleeping. It's not dividing like that. I have seen some kind of timetables, or you do this. Oh, when you are going for an exam for academic in academic life, yes. Sometimes when it's getting closer to the exam, you can prepare fixed timetable, because I do constitution law on this day and criminal this day, and they like that, right? So I would spend 2 hours on this, 2 hours on this, 2 hours on this, and I have to go to the lectures. So you can prepare timetables like that when it come to exams or like in academic life. But I'm not talking about that. The balance in the personal life between the academic life or working life is not a 50-50 one, because the priorities changes every single day. Tomorrow I may have to work extra 2 hours because of the nature of the matter I would be dealing tomorrow. But day after tomorrow, I may have to leave early to pick up my son from the school because my wife cannot attend the school that day. That is something came up with my personal life. And sometimes I will have to think about calling in sick in a particular day because I'm not feeling well. Uh, I'm not mentally ready to work that particular day. So priorities changes every single day. You cannot balance these two lives by 50-50, right? So as now we have answered two critical questions. This is not an achievement. It's a cycle. It's a keep going thing. And it is not a 50-50 balance. So now we can go to the points that I wanted to talk about with you, like how do we keep this cycle work life balance. The first point is um, take a moment, like take a pause and denormalize what you guys are doing today. You decided to attend this webinar because the topic was about academic or work life versus personal life. So now use this opportunity as a um, pause, like denormalize what you guys have been doing as a routine. That's the nature of human. Like whenever, whatever you are doing, you're going to work and come back home every day. You go to university or come back home every day. When you are getting used to a routine, we don't even realize we keep doing it. We keep doing it. And in the weekend, during the weekend, if you have a break, now these days, even a Saturday considered as a weekday. I barely see people who are not working on Saturdays, right? Because especially in this legal industry, they have to work on Saturdays and they decided to work on Saturdays. What I wanted to say, when we are getting used to one routine, we keep doing it, and days keep going. Like days go faster, and months, years, and after few years, when we look back, what I have achieved in past year, sometimes I'm still in the same spot um, where where I was end of the last year. So that means we are keep going in the same routine. We are not realizing that we do not take a moment and have a pause and think about I'm, what I am doing wrong, what I am doing right. Because even if you are doing something wrong, not healthy, you can still keep going in that routine. That's what make the stress. So let's say you working long hours, long hours for studies or working, and spending less time with your family, friends. That is not good. But does that mean the person is not, he's not doing it for a long time? Even if it is wrong, even if it's not healthy, you can keep doing it for a long time. Even for the food, something is not healthy, you can keep eating it as a habit. So take a moment, take a pause, and even after this lecture, go home, or you're at home, like take a moment and think, am I really spending time on uh, priority basis? Like, what is currently causing me stress, unbalance, or dissatisfaction? Are you really satisfied about the life? We have seen that many academics, like university students, are committing suicides because of the academic stress, right? And um, that means they do not have time to think. They do not have, um, they haven't done this taking a pause and denormalizing things, getting rid of the bad, unhealthy routine. So the stress is keeping up, and at the end, they cannot, when they cannot control their stress and depression, they decided to end their own life. So take a moment and think, what is going wrong, what I am doing wrong, what is causing me this stress, right? How are they impacting my personal life? So you have to identify the facts that causing the stress. To do that, take a step back, maybe take a day off, maybe go somewhere and think about it, right? It's when you really do that, for me, it's a very most enjoyable thing. The thinking about me and taking a pause and thinking about me and what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right. If I'm in some kind of a stress, what is causing the stress, and what can I do to avoid that stress, and think about some nice things that I'm planning to do with my family. It's a very nice thing. I think maybe some of you guys are already doing it. So, for this purpose, to establish a good cycle of life, good balance of work life, good balance of academic life and personal life, please do this. Take a step back and denormalize, get rid of the routine, break the routine, and go outside and think. Okay. And the second strategy is pay attention to your emotions, right? Never ignore your emotions. Never do that. Once you have increased your awareness of your current situation, so you took a time, you took a day off, you took a break, and thought about what I'm doing wrong or right, what is causing this stress. Now you're paying attention to your emotions. Like, um, ask yourself, do I feel energized, fulfilled, or satisfied? Ask yourself. Nobody's listening, right? You don't have to be shy. Nobody's seeing your answer. Just ask, am I happy? Am I angry? Am I satisfied? Um, for example, like, if you are sad about your academic life, I mean, if you don't like, if you are thinking, "Oh, I'm not good, I'm not going, not doing good with my criminal law, or I'm going to fail this subject," right? That making you stress. Or personal life. I'm not spending enough time with my parents, or my siblings, or my girlfriend, or boyfriend, or wife, or husband, or kids. If you think about it, and if you pay attention to your emotions, then only you can find solutions. Because if you don't know the causes, if you are sad, sometimes let's put it this way, like sometimes people are so mad, they don't even know why they are so mad, especially at work. Sometimes I have some experience. Some people are so rude. um, I mean, They don't like if one of the co-workers ask a question from them or made a tiny mistake, or they get so mad and they so mean. Even in the university, sometimes some lecturers or some students, um, they are not having a good day. Some people in random days, some people every single day. So but um, they may not know the reason, what is making them angry, so irritated, right? So pay attention to your emotions. If you are sad, ask why I am sad. If I'm stressed, why I am stressed, right? So, and we go to the third step. Now we know this is a cycle, and pay attention, take a pause, and see where are you at. I mean, where are you standing at? Pay attention to your emotions, and then reprioritize. Increasing your like emotional awareness give you the tools you need to put things into perspective and determine how your priorities need to be adjusted. The priorities should be adjusted time to time. We cannot fix, okay, this comes first in the list, this is second, this is that. I mean, we we can say that, okay, the family is first. Family is first. That's true as a concept. I believe in that. I mean, if someone asks, please, Asela, give me a honest answer. What is first, family or work? Oh, definitely it's family, right? The work is also part of your personal life. That is how I'm seeing it. I mean, to have a good personal life, you have to have a good work life, because that is the place, um, what is providing you uh, money and everything, the security to have a good personal life. So if someone asks me what is first, what is most important, I say, okay, my life, my family. And because that is most important, to have that in a good healthy place, more secure place, I have to have good work life as well. When you think like that way, when you put it in that way, you will um, naturally, effortlessly, um, keep your work life in a good stand. So I'm not tracking my time. I don't know how long I have for my first session. Anyway, I have to talk about two more points very quickly. Now we know this is a cycle. We took a break, and we did the analysis in our situation. We identified issues and denormalized. We broke the routine, and then pay attention to your emotions, what is causing what, and then reprioritize, right? And then fourth step, consider your alternatives. Like sometimes, before jumping into solution, first reflect on the aspects of your work and life that could be different in order to better align with your priorities, right? So are there components of your job that you would like to see change? Things can be changed. People, some people are really hesitating to change things. It's not true. You can change things. Like, to achieve what you want, you have to keep change things. It's like, I know we some people, like most people, uh, not they are not going for a change, not thinking about alternatives. Like I have, at one point I have decided to leave Sri Lanka, not for permanent. And then Again, I decided to leave Canada. Again, I decided to leave Sri Lanka. When you listen to the stories, like okay, it's not consistent. There is no consistency. Just keep going here and there. No. So when you consider the facts, when you evaluate your situations, um, if you really confidently decide, um, yeah, if you decide this is the time for a change, you have to make changes. So think about your alternatives, right? Do not be afraid to make changes. If something is not doing good in your academic life, even at the bottom line, even if you do not like uh, your profession, your industry, don't even think like be afraid to change it. If it is not for you, if it is not for you, right? Okay, and then in the final step, um, implement those changes that you have identified uh, uh, throughout the process. Um, so I have to conclude my first session because the time is not permitting us to go beyond. Um, so to establish a good cycle of work-life balance, we have to uh, accept that this is not an achievement. It's a cycle. It's a keep going thing. And to uh, go there, take a break, denormalize, break the routine, and pay attention to your emotions, what is causing what, and then think about reprioritize things, change the order, and consider your alternatives. Like try different things to see if they are working, and then permanently implement changes.
Thank you, Mr. Rupasinghe, for your valuable insights. Now, let's hear from Mr. Ruby Mapa about balancing academics and personal life. Please welcome Mr. Mapa to discuss the topic.
A very good evening to all of you. So, first of all, thank you very much for even myself. I am someone who is yet to figure out how to achieve this perfect balance between your academics and your personal life, right? And it has been quite a hectic, quite a stressful journey in figuring it out, and something that I'm yet to achieve. But I think throughout this journey, there have been certain tactics, certain findings, certain discoveries that have helped me in managing the different activities that I'm engaged in. So hopefully in today's session, I hope to share some of these techniques with you as well, so that you are, it would help someone out there, a fellow undergraduate as myself, right? So I think before I get started with talking more on how to balance academics and your personal life, I think there's this very insightful, I think, agreeing with what Asela sir said as well, which is that achieving this balance is not an achievement per se, but rather it's a cycle, right? And another piece of wise insight that I received was from this gentleman called Jim Donovan, who is the vice chairman of Goldman Sachs, right? Which is, as you might know, the second largest investment firm in the world. And so his area of focus is on working with clients and more on the legal side of investment banking. And this wonderful piece of insight that he shared was the fact that achieving work-life balance is not what you call a short-term goal, right? It is a long-term process. Because I oftentimes see that a lot of undergraduates, a lot of students who are just getting into the field itself, right? We oftentimes try to figure out, okay, there are certain sacrifices that we're not willing to make, right? We always think, okay, I'm not going to work past 5 p.m. I'm not going to work past 6 p.m. because there needs to be a fine line. There needs to be a boundary between work and my personal life. But the unfortunate reality is oftentimes this is not really a healthy way of moving forward. Why? Because I think, as Asela rightfully mentioned, right, your work is going to be one of the most important things for you, because it is the thing that is going to be able to provide for your personal life, which you crave to have, right? So considering the fact that the legal profession is one of the most demanding fields and is one of the most competitive fields. I mean, you talk to a senior lawyer in the country, so I mean, this day, and definitely a piece of advice that they will be sharing is that the field is oversaturated. There are so many lawyers, right? And obviously, as a result of this, it has become super competitive. So if there's another law student who's just getting out of law school or college, who is willing to work 2 or 3 or maybe 5 hours more than you are, then obviously he or she is going to have an advantage, right? So it's that competitive. So now the real challenge is, okay, in such a competitive atmosphere, how do you really succeed whilst maintaining the fact, ensuring the fact that you do not go into burnout as well, right? So that's the real challenge. And hopefully in this session, we'll be able to share some advice on how that can be achieved. So I think coming back to the topic, right, which is how important it is to balance academics and personal lives, I completely agree that yes, while it is important for you to remain competitive in the job market, while it is important for you to put in that extra effort, put in that extra hours to succeed, it is also equally important for you to manage a personal life as well, right? Because this, I'm sharing this because we see a lot of law students. I think this is a problem that I myself was guilty of a few months back, right? Is the fact that you tend to overwork yourself. You tend to forget the fact that, okay, look, you need to have personal life, and you put 100% of your effort into working. Now, this may seem like a good idea, but it is not a sustainable idea, right? I remember just a few months back, there was more things in my portfolio, right? In addition to being a student, I was also the CEO of a company. I was also trying to run my own company at the same time. I was also a media presenter. So I remember what the schedule looked like, right? It was work the daytime, like manage both the education and the CEO duties during daytime, and then come back home at around 5, 6 and conduct lectures for like 2, 3 hours, and then manage to get around 2 or 3 hours of sleep on a very good day, and then run off to the midnight shift at, back then I used to work at Sun FM as well as a radio presenter. So you run off to the midnight shift at Sun FM. And so that was what the day looked like, right? Barely 3 or 3.5 hours of sleep every single day. And that is how it used to be. And, at first you feel like, okay, look, this is great. I'm surviving. I still have my energy, but it is something that is not going to be sustainable. And I remember at one point in my life, I realized, okay, look, this is not going to work out. The point at which I realized that it's not going to work out is when I experienced burnout, right? And I think maybe a lot of you are quite familiar with what burnout is. It's unfortunately one of the curses that our generation has been forced to deal with, right? So burnout is essentially where you simply do not have motivation to do anything at all. Right? You lose that motivation, you lose that fire within you, and you simply do not have the energy to deal with anything. Right? You just want to lay on bed, but it's not that easy. It's stressful. It's really stressful, right? So I was undergoing burnout on multiple occasions of my life. And this is what made me realize, look, entirely focusing on my career is not going to help, right? Because if you're going through burnout, you simply do not have the motivation to, get out of bed and go to work in the first place, right? So then I started cutting back on my commitments and to allocate a little bit more time to develop my personal life, right? To at least have a hobby, to do something fun for once, to get proper hours of sleep on a particular day, right? And this really helped out a lot because I was finally finding that rhythm where I could be sustainable, where I could continue to work on a sustainable basis. That is to say, it's not like I put in my heart and soul for work for 5, 6 days in a row and then completely crash out the next 2 days, right? It's the fact that, okay, look, every single day I'm able to come out and put in consistent effort. I think that is what really matters in a profession, right? To be able to put in that effort consistently. So definitely, yes, it is important for you to balance this academics and personal life. And the main reason is to simply avoid burnout, right? And I think one more reason that really plays a big role is your productivity. Because the moment you start to prioritize your work. I mean, this is something that I personally went through myself a few months back when I was talking about the time that I didn't know how to balance my things out. The reason being, I came to realize that, okay, I'm running this race, but I'm not getting anywhere, right? It's like you're always working, you're always putting in the effort, but you're not really seeing progress. The reason is because, you're diverting your attention towards so many different things, and you're always working, and your body simply doesn't have the energy to be productive, right? So I realized, okay, my grades were slipping and they were going down, and my work at office is not, I mean, I was making the silliest, most careless mistakes. And at night I was blubbering on, I mean, at radio presenting, I was talking about other things, and I was like losing focus, and I didn't know when to shift the songs, and there was dead there on the radio channel. So I was making the silliest mistakes, the most careless mistakes, and I felt my productivity, my efficiency drop, right? And I think that was because of the fact that I was overworking myself. So I know as youngsters in this competitive world, it is very tempting for us to overwork, for us to stand tall amidst others, right? To be competitive in this job market. It is very tempting. But I want you to understand that it is not going to be a sustainable thing, right? It's not going to be something that you can manage on the long run. And that is the exact reason why it is important to balance academics and personal lives. I think later on in the session, we'll be talking more about how we can do this. But to answer this question briefly, yes, I do think it's important. And this is why it's important. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mapa, for your valuable advice. Once again, let's welcome Mr. Rupasingham to delve into differences between being married to someone from the legal profession and someone outside it.
Yes, when I was given this topic, I was really thinking, because I'm not married to someone is from the legal profession. So how would I talk about the difference between married to someone from the legal profession and someone is not from the legal profession? Because then because I do not have experience being married to someone from the legal. But so I decided to talk about very briefly um, about having a healthy relationship. So it doesn't matter if your partner is from the legal profession or not from the legal profession. But I do have some feedbacks from my legal colleagues, because during law college or during in the university, even during in your university, law students are getting together with each other, and end of the academic years, we see many couples from the same legal industry, right? Sometimes juniors getting married to seniors, some lecturers, and yeah, so it is very common. I don't know about the other industries, but in legal industries, in my personal experience, there are so many couples from the same legal industry, and I have seen that um, uh, that is even increasing. But in my personal experience, someone is not getting married to someone is not from legal industry. Um, so I'm focusing about having a healthy relationship between work and life. So to do this, you have to, like, even in the previous session, some people said, okay, I never take work um, to my house. When I'm done with my work, I'm done. So as uh, Ruin, right, spoke before, like he also agreed to that. You cannot make this fine line. So sometimes you will have to work long hours, but your partner um, should understand that. Sometimes your partner has to work long hours, so you should understand that. Sometimes you have to give some extra to your work. Sometimes you have to give some extra time to your work life. So your personal life, right? As we discussed before, it's a cycle. We have to deal with the situation. You cannot make fine lines. So having a healthy relationship, first you have to know what is making you happy. So are you taking enough time off? If you keep doing, I know sometimes some people are like going to the university, they temporarily reside in Colombo, but their hometown is some far away. Some students I know, they are not going back to their houses to see their parents, stay with their family for a long time. They are fully focused on their academic life because they know that they have to pass these exams, they have to become a lawyer. So it's not wrong that they are putting everything on that purpose, but it is not healthy if you are not having a good personal life after your academic things, after your work things. You it's no, without having a good personal life, it's very challenging to go where you wanted to go in your professional life. But I have seen very um, senior lawyers, very successful lawyers. They are having a really good family life as well. I think having a great family life is really helping you mentally, um, to have a good mental freedom and happiness, the power um, in your work or academic life. So I ask one single question. I give you 3 seconds to answer. Just think about it. Give me an answer. Like you get this Aladdin's the lamp, Aladdin's lamp, and when you touch it and when you rub it, and that guy, the Bhutia guy, is coming out, and he give you 3 seconds to ask something you like. Like you can ask three things in 3 seconds, right? Do you have pre-prepared three answers for that? Surprisingly, when I asked this question from my friends for fun, um, like most of them, they did not have answers to give you in 3 seconds, not even in 1 minute. They're still thinking, oh, what do I do? First this, second this. Because why? You don't even know what makes you happy. So before you achieve happiness, please think. If you get a chance to get really what you want, what makes you happy, you have to have the answer. You have to know, you must know what makes you really happy in family life, right? In work life. So, so I'm going to conclude to having a good relationship, having a good work life, to have a good academic life, family life, or any other relationship, you have to have this mental happiness. So please be aware what really makes you happy. Sometimes it could be very, like it could be very inexpensive thing. You don't have to spend some money. Sometimes I get my happiness having just my me time, just for me. Just think. Sometimes playing with kids, sometimes going out with wife or your girlfriend, boyfriend, sometimes watching a movie. Sometimes I purposely avoid watching those sad movies and listening to those sad songs. Something is making you really mood sad. So I mean, why? I don't go for them. I try to keep the happiness in my mind all the time. So I'm concluding my second session. To have a good relationship at, like, anywhere you go, everywhere you go, whatever you are doing, so maintain your mental happiness. To do that, pause, think, and reprioritize your things. Be aware what you are doing. Have the self conscious all the time. Just do not follow the same routine like a robot. Always take a pause, always rethink, And yes, you will be able to maintain this cycle. Think about like take one thing at a time. Okay. Okay. Good luck with that.
Thank you, Mr. Rupasinghe, for your valuable words. Our next topic would explore the challenges law students face in maintaining healthy relationships whilst handling academic stress. Once again, please welcome Mr. Mapa onto the spotlight.
All right. Thank you, Raveen. So I think very interesting question, which most of you might be excited to figure out a solution to. Because I think as law students, it is inevitable that we go into relationship trouble, right? We go into trouble as to how to manage relationship while becoming a law student. And I think I've had multiple of my friends and even certain seniors advising us on this. And I've seen most of them, having to pick between, they're having to make that unfortunate decision that, okay, I'm going to end my relationship just because I'm starting law college, right? And it doesn't have to be the case, right? I mean, there's nothing to say that, okay, look, you cannot maintain a healthy relationship while you are becoming a law student, right? That is definitely not the case. But in fact, it is going to be challenging. It is definitely going to be challenging to divert the same amount of time and attention to your partner to make sure that their needs are being met while becoming a law student because of the stress and the time commitment that requires from your end for your particular curriculum, right? So I think a few things that have helped me, few of my friends, and something that we've come to understand is that firstly, it is that the communication is key, right? Because I think sometimes we do not want to have that open communication. We do not want to have that uncomfortable communication with our girlfriend or your boyfriend with regards to how things will play out once you become a law student, right? Because the conversation is uncomfortable and you tend to avoid it. But I would say do not avoid that conversation, right? The longer you continue to avoid that conversation, the more serious your problems would get, right? So it's important that you have this open and honest communication with your partner at the earliest possible moment. And what should you be discussing at this point is that, first of all, you need to be making it clear to them regarding your particular academic commitments, right? It needs to be clearly communicated to your partner. Look, now I'm at college or now I'm at university, and these are my commitments. And look, these are the things that I need to be focusing on. And secondly is the fact that you need to be communicating to them about your particular stresses, right? Your partner should be kept on the loop with regards to what stresses you out, with regards to what is making you stressed out, because otherwise they might think that it's their fault, right? They might think that the reason that you're upset, the reason that you're pissed off is because of something that's wrong in the relationship. And these kind of small insecurities could end up becoming big problems. So, talking about your academic commitments, your stresses, your time constraints, having that open and honest conversation is absolutely important. So if you've been avoiding that for up until this point in time, I highly advise you to have that conversation, right? Because you both need to understand, okay, what are the commitments that are there from your end, and that need for flexibility arises, right? Both of you need to be flexible enough to adjust for each other's schedules. So together, when you have that conversation, you can establish that realistic expectation about what you can expect from your partner. And then you will find ways to support each other. Because if done right, a relationship could actually help you out a lot to deal with the stress of being a law student, right? The right relationship. So for you to maintain that healthy relationship, this open and honest communication is vital. And I think the second thing that you need to understand is that, I think as Aselisa rightfully mentioned, right? It is not about sticking to this routine robotic schedule, right? A schedule is important. Definitely, you need to have an idea about how your time is allocated. But it doesn't say that, okay, look, you need to be an entirely a robot, right? You need to be flexible and you need to be adaptable. I think this is the key component when it comes to maintaining a healthy relationship as a law student. You need to recognize that there will be times where your academic demands may require more of your attention, right? Sometimes you might have to spend more time at college, more time at university, focusing on your studies, right? And at that point in time, you need to understand it first. And maybe on those particular weeks, on those particular months, you might not be able to meet your partner as often. And that needs to be communicated to them as well. That needs to be explained to them. And you need to understand that during certain busy periods, you need to firstly make sure that your partner understands what your needs are and that you find alternative ways to connect, right? Let's say, for example, you might not have the time to go and meet them in person as you usually do, but maybe a simple thing like, having a Zoom date, a 10-minute Zoom date, or maybe, having a Zoom call with them, something as simple as them, so that you still find ways to balance both things and balance both ends while, maintaining your academic grades as well. So that level of flexibility and adaptability are essential qualities that not only are needed from your end, but from your partner's end as well. So once again, this is where the open and honest communication comes into play. You need to talk with them. You need to explain things to them, and you need to make sure that they are flexible and adaptable enough as well. Because otherwise, if that flexibility is not there, if that adaptability is not there, it is going to be immensely difficult for you to maintain a healthy relationship while you're going to be a full-time law student as well, right? Because you have to understand at the end of the day, both these things are important, right? You worked for years of your life to become a law student, and it means a great deal to your future, right? Your career as well. But at the same time, a healthy relationship is something you do not want to lose out on as well. It is something that would definitely help you in your personal growth, and that definitely needs to be maintained as well. So I think these two things are things that help a lot. Firstly, the open and honest communication. Secondly, being flexible and adaptable. Yeah, that's what I have to add to this conversation with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mappa, for your valuable views. We now move on to the Q&A session, and the speakers will be available to answer your queries. So if you haven't already, the Q&A function is just for you. We already have some questions. The first question would be is from an anonymous attendee. How to survive when supervisors try to make girls get into relationships with other boys, even if we don't like? And when we refuse, they try to take revenge from work-related things. I think this question is for Mr. Saylor.
Hi. Yes, so very interesting question, and especially in this legal industry, I'm very connected with my colleagues back in Sri Lanka. We are having conversations all the time, and this issue, I have even spoke about this. I think we missed the first question. Yeah. So this forcing to get into relationships, especially in our society, in Sri Lankan society, I don't see this much in this Canadian society. I can't say it's zero, but these girls are making facing this difficulty, especially if this is coming from someone has the power to control you. Someone is a supervisor, or your boss, or your senior lawyer, or yeah. So when it is coming from someone who can um, implement power on their power on you, it's become very stressful and difficult. So I would say, rather than giving a uh, general answer for this one, you will have to deal with this situation by situation by situation. Let's say you are a girl, and now someone is, I am not very sure what is the supervisors mean. Maybe this is at workplace, right? Or your boss or manager, someone. Um, if they are trying to get into a relationship with you, I would say refuse, politely refuse, but you have to make sure that you are not putting that person in an uncomfortable situation as well. I mean, it's you have to deal with this issue in a different way that you would deal a situation in a public transportation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when something happened in a train or bus, or or in a like public place, someone is harassing you, and you cannot act the same way at your workplace. You cannot yell at the person in front of others, or you cannot tell this story to everybody. First thing is try to resolve this issue by talking straightly with the relevant person. If it doesn't work, if someone is physically harassing you, if someone is really making you uncomfortable, as lawyers or law students, uh, I must say we should not tolerate that beyond that point, because we are lawyers. We should be like not tolerating any harassments or sexual harassments or any abuses at workplace or academic place. That is the bottom line. Having that option, uh, try to deal with the person very nicely. Do not make a drama at first, but if it is because it's your workplace, you will have to get what you want from your workplace. So if this workplace is still benefiting you, I mean, if you cannot leave workplace, if just because of this reason, think about the other reasons why you should resolve this issue and stay in the workplace. If the answer is, okay, I should not leave the workplace, I will get an answer for this somehow, because this workplace is really beneficial for me for next couple of years at least. If you can say bye bye and go, and you have a better option out there, just go for it. But if you really want to stay in this place, do not create a drama. Try to politely deal with that. But end of the line, if it is going beyond your control, maybe talk to the next level or someone who can put an influence on that person, or um, just then take the proper channels to take actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sela. Um, the next question that we have is, when we compare work life versus personal life balance, women face too much pressure than a man. Is that true, sir? I
I think
think
it's true. Oh, you're going to Ruin for that?
um no, I believe sir would be able to answer that. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think it's true. Um, when we compare work life versus personal life balance, women face much pressure. Because yeah, exactly. Because I do have two kids. I have been there. I have been there when they were born. They were both born in Canada, so I got the opportunity. I think in some hospitals in Sri Lanka also allowing the dad to go there, and they give me the opportunity. Um, they take that as a like giving an honor to the dad. They give me the Caesar to cut the cord. So I have been there twice, watching this whole process. So that made me think, oh my God, like I cannot do that. If I mean, luckily I didn't have to. I didn't have to deliver a baby because I'm a man. But that's such a process. So that is why I respect women so much. So giving a birth itself, it's a huge for a working woman, because you are grow. It is. I do not have to explain deep. Everyone knows about how difficult the pregnancy season. So I think it is true. Also, the kids like until they grow up to a certain age, they are so much attached to their moms, and even now, even if I'm willing to, even if dads are willing to spend more times and get engaged with kids, um, I also remember I was more comfortable with my mom, and until certain age, there's a certain age, the kids become more comfortable to dealing with their dads. But even to sleep, even for food, even for school work, most small kids, um, they are trying to do them with their moms, their mothers. So I agree with this question, this statement. It is very challenging, but I have seen very strong women, girls. Sometimes I get so surprised. Back in the local age, these girls were like very, I would say, innocent and not. I mean, you would not think these girls become very responsible mothers, at the same time very strong lawyers at court, in attorney general department. Some are some of my colleagues are now judges, magistrates. So they are doing really great. Yeah, girls, women's are doing really great in our own legal industry in Sri Lanka. So that means they are capable of doing um, same as men while facing extra pressure of work-life balance. So you can do it if you are a girl and listening to this. There are so many examples for strong women who balance this work and personal life perfectly. Okay,
Thank you,
how?
sir. Sorry. Uh, we, al- we also have another question, how to deal with office politics. Please explain. I think this should go to Mr. Sale as well.
Yeah, so I have been working in legal offices, law offices, law firms, and other in the financial industry and insurance industry as well. So, and also I know a lot of things about office politics happening in Sri Lankan law firms as well. Yeah, there are politics. This when we refer to the word politic, this is not the national politics, right? This is the internal politics of the workplace or local age in your university, even in the little friend gang, friend circle, like five, six friends among five, six friends, even small friend group of three, there can be some politics. So how to deal with office politics? Do you have to deal with it? Oh, have I ever dealt with office politics before? Um, yes. So my answer is never. My advice is never get into office politics. Never get involved. I never get involved with office politics. I see things, I hear things. Sometimes I notice things. Sometimes without my intention of or interest, some people just keep saying, oh, you know what, this happened to that person, do this, or he's horrible, he's always making mistakes, and blah blah blah. So but I have to listen to it, because it's not rude that when someone is talking you're not listening. But I hear it and I just forget it. I do not spread the word. I do not go to the relevant person and make the scene. I never do get involved with the office politics. So, straight answer, how to deal with office politics: do not get involved. You may see things, hear things, notice things. Sometimes you have the eager to tell something because you see these things. You have something to tell, but once you make a comment, once you have make a comment or spread something you have heard, seen or noticed, you start to get involved. So I'm well famous that for that not telling gossips that I hear from someone to someone. So that makes you a very trustworthy person, because even sometimes if someone wants to tell you something, emotionally helping that person because someone is listening to them, that's okay to listen. But listen to that, and do not take that into another place. So straight answer: do not get involved.
Thank you, Mr. Asela. We have one final question. Participants, if you have, oh yeah, we got another one. Please keep the questions coming. The next question is, how can we make the family members understand the work schedule when they don't have enough background knowledge of the work schedule? I think Mr. Rubin can answer for this one.
All right. Hope I'm audible enough. Thank you, Ravin, for the question. Right. So yes, something that I've been personally undergoing a lot, it's a huge challenge I've been undergoing with in terms of my family, right? So to provide some context, I mean, when I started working, when I started studying, I had to move to Colombo and live by myself. And leaving my parents behind was one of the most challenging decisions because of the fact that it was not easy, right? So, I mean, after spending your entire life with them, you know, them being accustomed to you getting home at the end of every single day, and you moving out of city and not even being able to call them at times is a real change. And my mother was someone who found it very difficult to keep up with these changes. And I remember there were multiple times where they did not understand what I mean, how busy you could get, right? And obviously, you can't blame them. I think the answer to this question lies in the question itself, right? Which is the fact that you have understood that. I think it's good. Understanding the problem is the first step of solving it. And I think the problem here is that their lack of knowledge, their lack of background knowledge in terms of your work schedule. So one thing that helped me deal with the problems that I faced at home, I think there were multiple solutions which I will list out. So firstly is the fact that once again, you need to explain your work schedule to them, right? I think be it when it comes to a romantic relationship or even your relationship with your parents, at the end of the day, it is a fact that you need to have that open communication, right? So here it is a fact that you need to explain your work schedule to them, which is you taking the time to explain what your schedule looks like in simple and clear terms, right? And to describe what kind of like, what are your typical hours and what are the particular demands of your job and the importance, I mean, the passion that you have towards it, right? You need to explain this. And I secondly think it is the fact that you need to share your goals and aspirations with your family, right? Because if your family doesn't understand what you're striving for, their understanding of what your commitments may be might be twisted, right? So they need to understand, okay, at the first place, what is it that you're aspiring to achieve, right? So if you communicate the fact that, okay, look, this is why my work is so significant to me, and this is the reason why I'm trying to achieve this goal, then, you know, they will be, I mean, you can at least expect them to be a little bit more receptive and understanding towards your needs, right? But at the end of the day, you have to understand that, okay, look, no amount, I mean, there's a certain component of uh, at which communication could help you, but at the end of the day, you still have to find way to keep in touch, because at the end of the day, your family are also human beings, and human beings, despite how logical we are, we all have our own problems, right? And at the end of the day, when their feelings get involved, they might not necessarily be able to understand any of the explanations that you make. Like you might try to explain things to them, but for them, that explanation might not be enough, right? So what I did with my family was that, okay, I set a specific time every single morning that I would call my parents, right? And this was a time from which I would leave my residence to the time that I get to office, right? So no matter what I go through every single day, I made a mental note. Look, during this time period, I'm just going to call my mother and, you know, check up on them. And that greatly helped, because I think the challenge that my mom was facing from, I mean, if I were to understand my mother and my father to a great extent, was the fact that they were not hearing from me, right? When they are not hearing from you, when they do not know what's going on in their life, on your life, they feel to create problems around it. So when you at least give them a daily call, right? I mean, I think no matter how busy you are, you will be able to find 5 minutes to call your family. Right? It's all about your prioritization. I mean, you could be the busiest person on this planet, but still finding 5 to 10 minutes to call your family is not going to be that difficult. So, the fact of the matter is you need to call them at least for 5 minutes every single day and tell them, okay, look, this is what my schedule looks like today. This is what I'm going to do today. Just keep them on the loop, right? Just keep them aware with regards to what's going on in your life. Because this greatly helped me, right? This small change greatly helped me deal with their problems and for me to be able to manage both the work while also making sure that my family doesn't create too many problems as well. So yeah, these are things that you should try out and then see. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruvin. We have one last question, unless we get more. In every field, when it comes to female employees, they are providing extra protection like transportation for persons who work until late. But in the legal sector, it is not the case. These things need to make a progress. What is your good self's opinion on that? I think Mr. Asir could answer to this.
Yes. Yeah, in the legal industry, legal field in Sri Lanka, um, not only female employees, also all lawyers as a whole are facing so much challenges, and we talk about those issues on our social media all the times, and because even the legal ministers, like judges, and the people who are holding big positions in the legal industry sometimes getting involved with these conversation we try to raise in social media. So this is one of the concerns as well. I know, because um, as a nature of the legal profession, uh, hours of working are not fixed. Sometimes it can go beyond, especially when you have to travel for a court outside our station. Um, it takes days. Sometimes you cannot come back to Colombo at the same day. You have to stay there. So when you are dealing with female employees are dealing with these kind of commitments, there are some challenges. So in this question, is asking what is your good self opinion on that. I agree that there are some challenges also, but some law firms, um, they are trying to absorb this new technology. That is one of the good answer I can see. Even in Canada, after this COVID, I'm asking this question back from Sri Lankan academics and lawyers. How many law firms made this remote working concept after having the opportunity to deal with the challenges when something really happened, where people cannot go outside um, from their houses, but still you want to get the job done. How many court systems, like even in Canada right now, after the COVID, they started this Zoom um, court sessions, and in all the legal offices, they agreed to accept electronic signatures rather than wetting signature that they were really demanding before COVID. Now everything can be signed electronically. So you don't have to go to the office. Like clients don't have to go to the office to sign papers all the time. The court session are held through Zoom. So if this lady, female employees or male employees want to work beyond the beyond the cutoff time, like regular office times, why don't we use the remote working system? If you cannot provide transportation, but still want to get the job done. That is one thing came to my mind when I see this question. Also, you have to ask for uh, things that really reasonable. Like if someone is making you work until 8 or 9, and you can really genuinely ask, because it's a fair, reasonable request. In that particular day, you ask for some kind of transportation, or if they are making you work until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock every single day, I would not agree to do that every single day, even though it is so important, because you have a personal life as well. So it doesn't matter female or male employees. If your job is demanding to work every single day, late hours, I think something has to be changed. The questions like this have to be dealt case by case, right? It's very hard to give a general answer, but try to use the new technology, try to use remote working, suggest that to your boss. So office is not, it's not a big deal. You can do work from remote. At least you can work with your emails, um, do all the remote connecting is not a very expensive thing in these days. Sometimes now the officers are forcing people to work couple of days, not forcing, suggesting people to work couple of days from home. Do not come to the office every 5 days in this our legal industry, right? Yeah, that's a huge topic we should focus on in our legal industry. To maintain the work-life balance, use the new technology. We are, I think, my personal view, Sri Lanka is still really behind in that aspect.
Thank you, Mr. Asela. We have another question. How to interact with office people, as friends or just as office mates? I think Mr. Rubin can answer this.
All right. Thank you, Raveen. So, okay, now this is a bit of a tricky question because I think it depends on few things, right? Firstly, is what is your relationship with them? Because I mean, there are certain colleagues at office that would be better off as just office mates, and you maintain that line of professionalism with them. But obviously, there are certain. I mean, some of my colleagues that I have met have evolved into friendships that are very good, right? So I think it is something that you really can't decide for yourself at the very beginning, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But if you were to play it safe, I would say, up until the friendship, I mean, you would know at which point a friendship would develop, right? So up until that friendship develops, it's always a good rule of thumb to, remain as office mates, right? And what that means is not to give the cold shoulder to everyone else, but to be friendly and approachable, right? You can definitely be, I mean, regardless of the nature of your relationship, you have to remain friendly and approachable to your office colleagues, right? That is to say, you have to smile, you have to greet people warmly, to engage in that polite small talk that we have in office. Because when you create that positive and welcoming atmosphere, that is when you develop that good working relationships in the first place as well, right? And at the same time, you have to respect your professional boundaries. I mean, unless otherwise you're sure that this person is your close friend, you need to maintain that professionalism in your interactions, right? For example, if it comes to talking about sensitive topics or sharing confidential information, you have to be mindful of those boundaries and avoid discussing those personal matters that may be inappropriate for the workplace, right? So if I mean, that is how you essentially maintain the relationship with people from office, right? You respect their privacy, you respect their personal space, and you treat them as such until or unless otherwise you know that, okay, no, these guys are, like close friends of mine. So a rule of thumb would be to interact as office mates until up until a point comes where you actually develop a very close friendship with them. Yeah, so always go for the first option as being just office mates, maintaining that professional relationship.
Thank you, Ravin. And with that, we come to the end of the Q&A session and today's event. A very big thank you for our speakers, Mr. Asela and Mr. Rubin, and a big thank you for all our participants as well. Your participation is incredibly valued, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.